Good morning and welcome to Donington for the final race of the academy year. It's Friday and it's testing, and today is going to be a little bit different because myself, Andy Lund and also Adi were sharing a driver coach. We're sharing Jamie Unwin for the day, so that's going to be really good and interesting and add a different dynamic. And then tomorrow it's the usual format, so we've got qualifying in the morning and our final academy race in the afternoon. And I say final because on Sunday is the Autumn Trophy race, so it's the first and the last time that the white and the green group race together. Non-championship, just for fun, and it will be an awful lot of fun. And I'm undecided at the moment if I'm going to race it or not. I'm definitely staying because I'm definitely watching my academy colleagues do that race. Whether if I'm going to be part of it or not, I'm just going to see how this weekend goes. So a lot to look forward to. You will follow this journey and see how it unfolds because I don't know how it's ending yet. So join me for the brilliant and final academy race weekend of the year. Right, I've done the first 3 test sessions for today. The first 2 were wet conditions. And as we say on this channel, you learn so much in the wet. Hopefully it's not learning for tomorrow. I'm still really hopeful that for race day it's going to be much fairer weather than today. So regardless, 2 excellent sessions. The second one was with Jamie Unwin, the driver coach, and he really pushed me on and helped me find speed and grip in the wet that I've never done before. So thank you, Jamie. Superb lesson learned. So during lunch we had a chat through some of the lines and braking points, turning points, etc., with the anticipation that the track was going to be dry. And to a large extent that was true. The rain has stopped, the track is still, it's mostly dry but not perfect, still slippy in places, but even so I was able to get on it and put in some of my best ever times around Donington. I'm still a good couple of seconds off the pace of where I need to be, but that's okay. We've debriefed and I'm going to go out in the 4th session with Jamie, put some of those bits into practice, see if we might push out some of those braking points a bit more, carry speed through certain corners, in particular first corner Redgate. I think there's a lot of time to move. And also the old hairpin is, you know, it's a hugely important corner as well. Both of those corners are important because of the amount of speed you can carry all the way through the next sections of track. So that's the plan for the 4th and final session. And my word, what an enjoyable test day this has been. And there we go, session number 4 done. And I'd come in and I said to the guys, I cannot think of a session of track time that I've enjoyed more than the session I've just had. The track was all but dry. I had Jamie Unwin, my driver coach, in with me, and my word, he knows how to get the best out of people, and he had me take the car to the next level. And the thing is, when you get the car in that sweet spot, it just gets easier and easier to go faster and faster. And we've just had an epic session. Absolutely loved it. So all in all, feeling really quite good going into tomorrow. I've not got kind of killer time for the top few. We know that. I know I'm in my spot. I feel as though I can put in a good time in quali to get me on that usual mid-place spot on the grid, and then we'll take the race as it comes. Breaking news, I have decided to go ahead with Sunday's race. So I'm all booked in. I will just wait and see how the race goes on Saturday, but I'm booked in. There's 40 spots. All 40 places have been taken, but a cancellation had come in, and Caterham Motorsport really kindly sorted it out for me and booked me in and secured that 40th spot in the race. So there we are, watch this space. We could be on for another double header of race this weekend after all. Good morning. So it's now Saturday and race day for our final Caterham Academy race. We've just watched the white group qualifying, which was absolutely thrilling, and the times they've put in qualifying is faster than the lap record, I believe. So really looking forward to some terrific racing as the day progresses. My qualifying is at 11:25, and the weather is fair. There's just a little bit of, there's a few spots of rain in the air right now, but I'm sure everything's going to be just great. Off the back of yesterday, kind of really feeling quite confident that I can get in there and get myself a nice kind of mid-place grid position. That's certainly how it felt yesterday. I've got the confidence to carry that through into the car today. I'm going to make the absolute most of this final race weekend, so just looking forward to enjoying every minute of it, having a ball. So in the paddock we do have quite a lot of people come along to support, all socially distanced I promise, but thank you to everybody that's made the effort to come up here and support me today and throughout the entire year. So let's make the most of this fantastic final Academy race weekend. Qualifying coming up next. Join me on board for a flying lap of Donington. This was my quickest lap from quali, heading down the main straight into Redgate, and here we're aiming for a slightly later apex to get as straight as line possible out of Redgate, and you're full throttle all the way through Hollywood. As you can see, I'm entering the second part of the Craner curves, flat out over 100 miles an hour. The G-force here feels absolutely incredible. And then straighten the wheels, a dab of brake down to third and into Old Hairpin. Again, really important to get a good drive out, because in a low power car, particularly like an Academy, it's a long way uphill and you're full throttle all the way until we come into McLean's. Down into third, dab of the brakes, and we're through McLean's. Now approaching Coppice, which is a double apex corner, and the entry is blind, so you have to know when to turn in. Here I've almost made the second apex, which really wasn't the plan. The quickest line here is right the way around the outside of Coppice. Down the back straight and into the Robert chicane, picking out my braking point by using the building for reference. Down into third gear and straight in the chicane as much as possible. And there we go, over the start finish line, a flying lap of Donington. There's qualifying done. It was a huge amount of fun, my fastest ever time around Donny, and my word, I thought I was on it. So that's put me 16th on the grid, and it's kind of weird. I feel kind of happy, and like, what do you need to do? So from the book of excuses, I was out on my own all the way around, no tow. I wonder if it could be that. And then when you look at it the other way, I think it's something like a second and a half behind the leader. And is it that bad over that sort of length of track? So look, what I do know is this: I've got good pace. I've got good pace to be in those mid-place positions. I'm really looking forward to having a whole amount of fun. I've already caught up with some of the guys around me. We're going to sure to go out and have a brilliant race, and that's what it's about more than anything. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be really happy with another top 10. That's what I'm going for secretly. Don't tell anybody. So yeah, if I can get in that top 10 from 16th, that would be terrific. It's going to come down to a good start. It brands, I didn't really nail the start, so I need to just get into that start nice. It's a nice steady start. It's going to be the best way forward. See if I might make something, not lose anything more off the grid for sure. Get around those first few corners and then get into the race. So really looking forward to it. A very, very exciting qualifying. We're just taking a wander down. We've watched a white group race, and oh, what a race. It was superb. So we're just going to go down and watch the presentations. Afternoon everyone. Last race of the Academy season. It's good though, wasn't it? Yay! We're in third place. In third place. First podium of the day. Just missing out on the third place in the championship on a tie break. Up you go! In first place, and a runner-up in the championship, it was Dawn! Yeah! Here we are back on the 8th row of the grid, 16th place, and lights go out. I make a good initial first phase of the start, but look at Bruce Duckworth and Rich Brooks both making even better starts than me. I managed to make a couple of places and lose a couple of places, so about evens off the start. And as we turn into the first corner red gate, I can see James just starting to get out of shape, and he can't quite hold it. Into the gravel he goes, and lanky behind me. I managed to avoid that one.
I can see a cloud of tyre smoke. There's Rob Oldland. Oh my god!
So we are now into Hollywood for the first time. I'd held back just a little bit as I seen the trouble unfolding in front of me, so that's created a little gap, but I can get much quicker. They're kind of fighting between themselves, giving each other space, so it lets me catch the pack up really quick. I get a good drive out of the old hairpin there. Start to take a look up the inside of Ian Hapgood. We've been on track together throughout the year. We've had some terrific racing, but even though he left that Cosworth gap for me there, it's very kind Ian, I couldn't make a safe move there. Okay, now we are through McLean's for the first time and heading into Coppice. And now as I am turning through Coppice, I can see the yellow flags and the safety car board are being displayed. Not quite sure the rest of the pack has seen that in the same amount of time, so they're just starting to move away from me there. But yes, the safety car is out. The guy driving the truck down at the first corner red gate had done an incredible job all weekend long of quickly scooping cars in that have come off from that gravel, and done equally well here. And we are back racing again, so I've managed to keep on happy to tell. I've dropped Steve Lancaster from behind me on the restart, and I've got myself some space. And all of the cars making the safety car restart safely through Redgate and all the way through Hollywood and the old hairpin. And as I turn into the second part of Crater's there, little moment there, as you'll see, no problem, all under control. Steady the car up and straighten it, change down to third for old hairpin. All the way up through the uphill section, I'm unable to make any ground on Ian Hapgood in front of me, but pretty good there on the brakes and closing the gap right up. Through Coppice we go, onto the back straight there. Ian keeping a nice defensive line into the chicane. I'll stay to the outside, see if I might straighten the line up and get a run on him onto the start finish straight. So he compromised his line in there, that's given me a little bit more pace out of the corner, picking up his slipstream there. Wonder if I'm going to be near enough. We'll take a little look. Yeah, I'm going to make a move, just make sure it sticks nice and steady onto the brakes. Last thing you want to do is out-brake yourself. I've now got that inside line. Yep, that's the place made against Ian. So in front of me, Bruce Duckworth and Richard Brooks. Oh, a little moment there, too wide. I was quite lucky. A wheel there, almost out, even on the grass, I think, of old hairpin. Really important to keep any movement at that point very steady, no overreaction, but we gathered that one back in and got away with it. Into McLean's we go. And into Coppice. I just seem to be able to hold my ground here, not really making anything, but dropping the cars from behind me a little bit there. So I've got a bit of breathing space for now. The lesson learnt from Brands Hatch was to make sure you keep on the racing line, don't defend fresh air, so I'm keeping the fastest possible lines all the way through the Robert chicane there, straighten out as much as possible, and a decent exit onto the start finish straight. Even with this sort of gap you can still pick up some sort of tow, so keeping my car in line with Bruce in front of me. Bring the car in nice and steady into that late apex for Redgate, and getting a run full throttle now all the way down through the fabulous Craner curves and into the second part there, pinned flat, not quite as quick because of the traffic in front of me, and through Old Hairpin. Decent drive out now. I'm picking up a little bit of ground on Bruce in front of me. Not enough there, and into McLean's we go. Bruce taking a look at James Griffiths there in front, decides better of it. In doing so, he's compromised his line a little bit. That's allowed me to claw another couple of car lengths in on him, and down that back straight now in the slipstream. So they're both defending their line into the chicane. I can go ahead and take the good racing line still. That's going to give me that jump onto the start finish straight. I'm expecting something from this. Right, I've picked up the slipstream of James. Bruce has gone left, I've gone to the right. Is this going to pay off? I'm past James, and for the moment I'm past Bruce as well. Can I keep it together, keep that line, and keep it together under braking into Redgate? Yeah, I can. So there's a couple of places made right there into Redgate. Okay, nicely done. Now I've got the pack quite a way in front of me. I'm going to keep to those racing lines. I'm not compromising my line. There's nothing to defend at the moment, so I'll see if I can get a few corners in and start to pull this next pack in front of me. It's Rich Brooks, my next target. Again, myself and Rich, we've had some terrific races during the year. So I've got every chance of catching this pack. They're having to defend and fight between themselves. I can go ahead and take the decent racing lines. I do expect to be able to catch these, within a short amount of time. A 20-minute race doesn't really leave you much, so you do have to get properly on it and stay on it. And into the Roberts chicane there. Again, straighten out as much as possible. I'm certainly catching these cars in front of me. You can see visually the gap is starting to decrease. If you look in the mirrors there, I've dropped the cars from behind, no immediate threat. Again, the best racing line possible into Redgate, and then it's full throttle all the way through Hollywood and the Craner curves. You know the drill, all the way down to Old Hairpin. Let's see what sort of speed I can top this time. So into the second part of Craners, 103, lovely. Just a dab on the brake into Old Hairpin, third gear, and power out and up the hill. Through Starkest Bridge and the Swartz curve, all the way up the hill and down to third for McLean. There's another lap done. I haven't made as much as I would hope by this point, but let's keep on it. Again, a lesson learned throughout this year is just to keep going, keep putting those best laps in, lap after lap. Certainly never give up. You never know what's going to happen in front. And the moment you do let up that small amount, I promise you those cars from behind are on you in an absolute instant. Donington Park is one of the most beautiful circuits. The scenery is terrific, but it's a fabulous fast flowing circuit as well. And who's that? It's Andy Lund there in Redgate. Andy Lund in a moment, having a moment there in Redgate, so we will certainly take that position. Andy is a superb driver, unusual for him to make a mistake like that. Back into Old Hairpin again. Rich has got in front there of Kevin Turner, so now it's myself on Kevin. That bit of fighting has allowed me to close the gap. Kevin is now certainly in tow range and will soon be within striking distance. just keeping everything together, just making sure you're picking up your points each time, your braking point, your turning point. So Kevin there just taking a little bit too much apex, that's allowed me to close in that little bit more again. Each mistake's allowing me to just claw the gap just closer and closer. They're taking the right hand line, compromising their line into the chicane. That's allowing me to make a quicker line through the chicane, gaining more power on exit. So we've got a few cars here. We've got Ron in front, Rich to the left, and that's Kevin on the right. Is there anything in it for me? I'll take the left hand lane here. Rich starting to come across, and he can do that onto the braking line. Ron there giving Kevin a little love tap to assist with his brakes, and that's put Kevin right back up in front of Ron and Rich, and it's myself and Rich Brooks yet again. Now this time we are going through the Hollywood and Craner curves, very close to each other there. Race on. In that bit of battling, it's allowed the positions behind to close up, so I can see Bruce in my mirrors. That looks like Pete Mott there. Pete must have had a moment. I will get past him on the way up through Schwartz curve there. Thank you very much for a gimme. And now into Coppice. So we are part of a 8-car train here as we come down the back straight. Pete's had an absolute fly around Coppice there. He's picked up my toe and straight away he's taken that place back. Well done, Pete, nicely driven. And we enter into the Robert chicane, and as we do, oh, James Hall there, I'm not quite sure what's gone on. I see Kevin, Rich, Ron, there's certainly a collision there. We'll take a look at the replay. Difficult to know exactly what's happened there. Rich has done really well to navigate his way around the right hand side. I opted to go left, as did Pete. And we continue to fight another day. I can see Rich Brooks has kept going, just losing a wing there. And as we head down the main straight into Redgate, I've got Pete on the right hand side, give him the room. He's got the line and he gains that spot back for me. Let's get right behind him, tucked up in the slipstream. Is there going to be anything in it for me as we enter the second part of the Craner curves? No, not really, but we're keeping Pete in close tow there. Heading up into McLean, I've got Andy Lund behind me, and he's a terrific driver, but equally I know he's not going to do anything stupid. We're both going to drive great lines. I'd like to say hi and thank you to Tom Forsyth. Tom is a racer from USA and he's been following me since early in my journey. After Brands, he had mentioned about how I'd compromised my lines, defensive lines, when really there was no immediate threat. And Tom, thank you. I've taken that forward and put it into practice right here at Donington. And again, we've got the yellow flags out now. That must be for the incident at the Roberts chicane. So just make sure we keep everything nice and sensible as we go through here. Bruce Duckworth and Ron, and the checker flags come out early, so they've made the decision that we wouldn't have been able to have restarted following a safety car. So the checker flag out, and 11th place.
Afternoon, everyone. Hey. Last Academy Championship race of the year. In third place, and by virtue of getting fastest lap, third place in the championship, is Chris. In second place with the trophy presented by his newly pregnant wife Bex. And missing out on third place by just 1 point. Dennis! And today's winner, with the trophy presented by his dad and giving him the runner-up spot in the championship, it was Chris!
So there we go, a very, very exciting race. Not the best of starts and left myself everything to do, but fought my way back up through to 11th place. So ultimately happy with that. So that's the Caterham Academy season done. But we've still got tomorrow to look forward to, the Autumn Trophy, which is just for fun and not for competition points. And that's where the two grids will be running together, a huge grid of 40 cars. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. So we're going to catch up in the next vlog for that one.